everyone. I'm Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing this fine day? Let's just dig right into the stats and all the good stuff in this matchup when the Steelers have the ball. That's what we're talking about today. Steelers still only average 4.6 yards per play. I mean, that's only ahead of 4 teams. But the Colts defense gives up 5.3 yards per play, which isn't so great. Steelers lead the league in the usage of 14 personnel, which you never see. That's 4 tight ends and a back, as well as 13 personnel. 28% of their snaps are out of 13 personnel. That's an insanely high number. And they're still 10th in the usage of 12 personnel with 1 back, 2 tight ends. So this multiple tight end Arthur Smith offense is no joke, and it's going to keep up. I think they're going to try to keep these guys in base. Their linebackers aren't very good. I think you want to keep as many of their front 7 guys on the field as possible, and you do that with big tight ends. The Steelers are converting 43% of their third down attempts. That's 7th best in the whole league. The Colts defense ranks 28th on third downs. That's a 50% conversion rate. That's pretty bad. And Indianapolis opponents are 6 of 7 on fourth downs this year. So money downs certainly favor the Steelers offense. Pittsburgh's offense is played with 3 or more wide receivers on the field in week 2, 29% of their snaps, the lowest rate in the league last week. We talked about the 12 usage. It's insane to have a 29% out of 11 personnel. I mean, that just doesn't happen in this league. It makes you harder to play against, but it's an odd way of doing it. Fields started his last week game with 11 straight completions and ended up with a 78% completion rate. He was 22 of 24 under 10 yards. His 73 completion percentage right now is 6th best in the entire NFL. It's pretty good. I mean, that was never his strength at Chicago at all. How about this? We all know he attempted no passes between the numbers in week 1. Last week, more than half his attempts were to that area of the field. And he was 12 of 16 for 147 and a touchdown and interception against Los Angeles, and his time to throw on those attempts was just 2.27 seconds when he was between the numbers. Really quick, attacking the middle field with precision, I would say. Just 5.3% of his pass attempts have come 4 seconds or longer after the ball was snapped. Last year, he was at 18%. The year before that, he was at 21% and 12% as a rookie. Now he's at 5%. Ball, he's not holding it and patting it and running around. His average depth of target is only higher than Pat Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Aaron Rodgers. So his average depth of target right now is 5.9 yards downfield, which is very low. That's by design. He's one of 12 quarterbacks with 1 interception or less. That's humongous. But the Colts allowed Caleb Williams, who's really struggling to complete passes, to throw for 363 yards last week. Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and DJ Moore combined for 287 receiving yards. Just those 3 against this defense. And you'll see, too, they're pretty bad against the run as well. Pat Freiermuth ran a route on 89% of the Steelers' dropbacks last week, his season high. That's exactly what I've been wanting to see. He has 11 career touchdowns. All have come in the red zone. I didn't realize that until just now. Freiermuth is the only tight end in the league with 4 or more catches in every game this season. You would think Kelsey, all these guys, tight ends around the league right now are really struggling. Fields' sack rate, 6.7%, is below league average and well below his previous career best of 9.6% of his dropbacks. His 1.3 interception rate is also the lowest of Fields' career. Only the Broncos and Falcons, 2 teams the Steelers have played, are blitzing at a higher rate on third down than Indianapolis. But on early downs, only the Niners blitz at a lower rate than Indianapolis. And last week, Fields was 8 of 9 for 119 yards and a touchdown against blitz. Since he's been in the league, he's been one of the most blitzed quarterbacks out there. And he's starting to really figure it out here of how to handle blitz. The Colts defense allows 4.17 yards after the catch per reception. Fourth best. So they do tackle pretty well. Folks, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the NFL to college, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the game is being played. When the game's over, head over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use promo code BELIEVE, capital all caps, BLEAV, and get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. How about this? Through the first 2 weeks of the season, first two games, Indianapolis's defense gave up 474 rushing yards, the most by any team through two games since 1978. However, last week they held the Bears to just 63 rushing yards, but Chicago's run game is so bad. I mean, their offensive line is so bad. Chicago had 4 negative rushes in that game that totaled minus 20 yards. So they were making plays behind the line of scrimmage. They were shooting gaps against an interior O-line that's really bad. Their center in Chicago is really bad. And I'm sure they decided, we're going to make Caleb Williams beat us. And he put up big numbers, but I guess that approach worked. Needless to say, though, I don't think the Colts run defense is very good. Go back and watch week 2 against Green Bay with Patrick Willis. And all they could do is run, and all they did was run, and they ran really well on him. I know Najee's not the best guy in the world for fantasy or, the most exciting back out there, but he is 70 yards from scrimmage now or more in 6 straight games. I mean, the consistency factor he brings, I think, is really important, as well as his toughness and the physicality and the way he plays the game. Last week, Justin Fields dropped back 35 times. He only scrambled once. I don't think that that's by plan. That's probably a one-off because he's really good at it, but he's not relying on it. The ball's coming out. He's only averaging 3.2 yards per carry this year. And during his first 3 seasons in the league, all with Chicago, that number was never lower than 5.3 yards per carry. Right now he's at 3.2. I'm sure he'll bust off some long ones, but I also think he's being smart, and there's not as many, he's not pushed to run as much as he was in Chicago. So how about this? Like you may have noticed, I'm sure you did, you noticed Cordarrelle Patterson out on the field quite a bit in that Charger game. But he played 16 snaps with a running back on the field, with either Harris or Warren. So what I'm saying is he wasn't the lone back in those snaps. It was a pony package. I know he's also part receiver. But those 16 snaps, the Steelers averaged 8 yards per play, which is insanely high, which is like double their their average for the year. I'm not saying it's a nice wrinkle, I guess is a good way to put it. That he's an odd guy to account for a defense. The Colts defense was on the field for 90 snaps last week. And Julian Blackmon, Zary Franklin, E.J. Speed, Nick Cross, and Jalen Jones played all 90 snaps. That's a ton. I've told you before, the time of possession and amount of snaps this team plays is insanely bad. But the 5 defensive players in the league that have logged the most snaps this year are all Colts. Franklin, Jones, Cross, Speed, and Kenny Moore, who's known as a slot, but he also plays every snap on the outside too. They've played more than 220 snaps already through 3 weeks. They're on the field all the time, which is exactly what the Steelers want. If they're only getting 4 yards a carry behind Najee and a bunch of tight ends, and this defense is on the field that much, and you're up to like 35 minutes in time of possession, that's how this game that's how the Steelers want this game to go. And I think this defense is very equipped to allowing the Steelers to do just that. All right, we'll break down the other side of the ball tomorrow and prediction time. Over and out.